So somebody Googles you, they go to your website and they're like, I should check you out on social media. So that's when they move over to that platform. So if we have that in mind for how people are using social media to find us, then we don't necessarily want to dump tons and tons of resources into that channel. Hey, and welcome back to Builder Funnel TV. In today's episode, we are going to talk all about social media costs for your residential construction business. We are going to focus on the organic side of how much you should be spending in terms of time and dollars. We're going to leave paid advertising on social for another video. So let's break down the 4 different platforms that you could be spending time and money on and dive into those. So the first one is Facebook. So a lot of people ask, how much does it cost really to market on Facebook? Well, the short answer is if you're not counting time, you can market on Facebook for free. But we all know time isn't free. So I'm going to break down what we recommend in terms of getting involved on Facebook, actively participating, but not taking it all the way up to level 100 and like posting multiple times a day. A good place to start is posting 2 to 3 times a week. And then we want to layer on what we call a boosting strategy to that. So boosting each post for maybe $10 or so. And the strategy there is that you want to post it, let it gain some organic traction. So maybe you get a couple of likes, maybe a comment, some engagement, wait maybe 4 to 12 hours, then boost it for $10, and that will extend the reach and make that post go a lot further. If you're doing 2 to 3 posts a week, typically a non-trained social media professional is going to spend about 3 hours a month developing that content, scheduling it out, maybe interacting with people that are responding. If somebody is well-versed in social media, they've got some scheduling tools, they're used to creating content, so they kind of have that content marketing mindset, then they're going to spend about an hour and a half on that kind of posting frequency. Just keep that in mind as you're going through and thinking about, okay, how much does this platform actually cost me? So depending on the dollar side, but also the time investment, if you've got somebody on staff doing it, if you're doing it, those are kind of the time commitments that you can expect. Just a quick note here, and we'll drop a link below. We actually have a done-for-you social media program. So if you want all of your content created for you, and then all you have to do is the scheduling of that and the interaction when people respond, we'll have the link there for you below. All right, let's move on to Instagram. So with Instagram, same sort of thing. We're looking at 2 to 3 posts a week, so nothing crazy. We're not doing a daily post or multiple times a day, which you definitely can do, but that requires a ton of time and energy. You're looking at similar dollars. You can post those onto Instagram. Kind of a part B or an option 2 on this is you can actually take that $100 budget and then just use that for Facebook and Instagram. We've seen more success with boosting on Facebook. So if you're kind of trying to decide between the two, I would recommend putting those dollars towards Facebook and then just using Instagram on the organic side. Similar timeframes here. You're looking at about 3 hours for a non-trained social media professional, somebody that's just maybe they're an office manager, maybe you're the owner of the business, maybe you just social media isn't your thing, then figure you're going to spend about 3 hours a month creating all of that content. And then if you've got somebody in that role that's a little more well-versed, they've got some scheduling tools, they've probably got some design tools, they're going to spend about an hour and a half creating a whole month's worth of social media content for Instagram. And again, that's figuring 2 to 3 posts per week. All right, so let's move on to Houzz. Houzz is still, I think, a great platform to participate in terms of their free profile. So you can add new projects and showcase your work there. You can pay to be featured in certain areas and show up in part of their leads program. Very much a mixed bag. I would say most of our clients are just leveraging the free profile, and then we have a couple that are seeing success with the paid. That aside, spending the time to upload new photos, write descriptions, optimize those profiles, that takes time. You have to learn the platform. You need to learn where should you focus that time. You know, is it in the titling of the descriptions? Is it the tagging, the locations, the descriptions? All those things are important, so you do need to complete those. You don't want to just throw up some photos and call it good, because Yes, if people make it to the profile, they will see those photos and you can direct people there that are maybe already prospects. But if you actually want it to serve you in terms of getting found, you kind of want to do your best to add the description, add the hashtags so that you get found within their algorithm. It's kind of like a very mini isolated Google, thinking people are searching on houzz. How do they find people? They find it through keywords and topics and descriptions and hashtags. In terms of a time investment, typically somebody that's not super familiar with the platform, figure it's going to be about 2 hours a month. And then somebody that's pretty well versed, they're going to be spending maybe an hour a month. So if you're keeping track by now, 3 hours, 3 hours, and 2 hours for somebody that's not trained. And then you've got an hour and a half, an hour and a half, and 1 hour so far in terms of a time commitment. And then the last one is Google My Business. And we're going to assume posting 1 time per week here. So Google My Business is your local map profile. So if you ever do a Google search and you see all the map listings show up, you definitely want one of these listings. So if you don't have one, you should go to Google, type in Google My Business, claim your listing, create your listing, get that set up. This is now something that you can post to, just like you can post to your Facebook business page. It's been this way for maybe a year, maybe 18 months now, but this really helps you show up in the local search results in terms of competing with those other companies that are showing up in the map. It also gives your visitors something else that they can click on when they're looking at that profile. They can see photos, obviously business hours, they can click on the website, but then you can drive them somewhere directly via a post, or you can feature a special offer or promotion or something like that in that space. We like to post in those posts, link back to blog posts and project pages. That could be a great way to highlight something that's different from just your homepage, and maybe you want to dive somebody right into something specific. For this one, pretty much you figure somebody that's either well-versed or not well-versed, you're going to be spending about the same amount of time. It's only a handful of posts a month. Usually takes you about 30 to 60 minutes. Whether you've used the platform or not, it's pretty self-explanatory in creating the content. So if you're not used to creating content, you don't quite know what to share, it might take you an hour to create all those posts. If you're pretty efficient with it and you've got content that you already know you want to share, then you might be closer to that 30 minutes on a monthly basis. In terms of social media costs and what to expect, again, if you're operating on these 4 platforms, keep in mind the budget amount for boosting content on Facebook and or Instagram, and then your time commitment. And again, if you're looking for kind of a shortcut, we have a done for you social media program. Again, the link is below. That has saved a ton of time for our customers. But regardless of whether you use the program, you definitely want to know what you're getting into and also have some good benchmarks. So if you're spending way more time on social media, you might just want to make sure, hey, am I getting a return? Because if you are, I'll never tell you to stop spending that time. But if you're not getting the return on social media, maybe you just want to keep it to what we've recommended in this video and say, hey, this is enough to keep me present, active, and online. But most of our clients are not seeing huge lead numbers from social media channels. They're using those channels as verifiers. So somebody Googles you, they go to your website and they're like, I should check you out on social media. So that's when they move over to that platform. So if we have that in mind for how people are using social media to find us, then we don't necessarily want to dump tons and tons of resources into that channel. It is an important channel, but unless you kind of take it all the way to 100, and you're posting all the time, you're interacting with other profiles, you're really, really investing in being a part of those communities, I think if you're in that bucket, you can see it as a real lead generator. So just know that going into it. And if you're not going to take it to 100, just be there, be efficient, share your content, interact with people, respond to people, and then use those channels for what they are. All right, guys, that's what I got for you today. We'll see you next time here on Builder Funnel TV.